everybody, Dr. Bam here. I hope you had a first great week of school. We wrapped up Unit 1 pretty quickly there. I'm going to be getting through that work this week and giving you feedback on it, so make sure that you go into your gradebook and check things. I will show you kind of I have a gradebook checking video that I'll probably send out in an announcement, and it's just like how do you go and look in and see the feedback to make sure you know how to do that in Schoology. So we are entering our second unit. This unit starts officially on January 26th, but I'm going to be opening it probably today on January 24th. And it will run until February 8th at 11 p.m., which is when all assignments are due, that Monday, February 8th, for Unit 2. This unit, we're going to start looking at who are our students. So who are we working at today? What issues might they have? What are the racial and ethnic heritages? How does socioeconomic status impact students? What language differences, and how do we address that? We're going to take a look at attitudes regarding gender roles, responsibility, get a glimpse into the how a person's sexual orientation can impact what occurs at school, especially in regards to bullying, and bullying as an overall topic. So you need to know all of these things and about who your students are in order to better service their needs. And then in the second chapter, we're going to take a look at how do we begin to view students, and how do we view each of them as being exceptional and unique in their own ways? What do we know about research? What are some laws that come into play in regards to that? And get into a little piece of supporting students with disabilities. We talk a little bit about students with disabilities and special population students in Intro to Teaching, but we do dive a lot more into that, into the second piece of teaching, which is Introduction to Special Populations. Okay, so for this unit, you will be reading chapters 2 and 3. I've included the PowerPoints down there below, like last unit. The unit video will be right here for you to complete. In addition to that, you'll be working on your assignments for the unit. So the knowledge check, as it was last unit, is a quick 10-question quiz regarding the chapters. This will have a little more detail into it. In Unit 2, the knowledge builder, we have several different assignments here that you'll be working with. In this first one, you're going to look at this article regarding multiple intelligence, and in a paragraph explain why the article believes that the theory might be misunderstood. So a lot of people do a great job with this one, telling me about the theory, but they don't actually answer that question. So why does the article propose that the theory might have been misunderstood? And specifically, Howard Gardner discussed a little bit of why he feels like it was misunderstood in the way that he presented it. Then you're going to take this worksheet right here, complete it. It is designed for children, and I did that on purpose because you'd be working with children, and do you think that it's an appropriate test for both children and adults? And you're going to answer those questions and do that reflection. Then we have a quick diagram about equality and equity and some discussions that I want you to think about it. So really take a look at that picture there and realize that equality means giving everyone equal things, right? So in the picture, we're looking at the children, and they all receive the same support in order to see the baseball game. But then in the equity on the right, we are looking at what equity means, which is to give them the support that they need to reach the goal, which was in this picture was to see the baseball game. So obviously for the girl, it meant having the correct number of boxes. For the little boy in the wheelchair, I think it's a little boy, it meant being given the ramp to gain access to it. So I want you to think about that and answer the questions below. Then we have a quick question on LGBTQ youth and the fact that they are often bullied, that they battle depression more so than our non-LGBTQ plus population. They're also more likely to commit suicide. So I want you to think about and identify 2 ways that you can support an LGBTQ plus student in your classroom. It doesn't have to be a huge way that you do it, but it can be simple things that you would do for all students, but especially focusing in that these students may need an extra piece there for them because they are more likely to have some of those issues develop. Okay, so after you go through your knowledge builder, there is your knowledge application, and this is a reflective paragraph from a personal experience that you had. It could be any personal experience. I prefer, if at all possible, you keep it to the K-12 industry. I always say that if you cannot think of a time, speak with some people around you, ask them if they've had an experience, and you can share their own experience. And then how does learning about that experience help you? So think about a time when they showed bias. So this last semester I changed it to you can choose any type of bias from race, socioeconomic status, gender, or any other factor that you feel came into play. So maybe sexual orientation or something else. It could be, for example, don't use this example, but that they favored a certain group over another group. And so there was something that created a bias from that teacher towards a certain student population. So you're going to tell me the story. So actually describe that incident, okay? And then you're going to tell me how did it impact how it impacted you, and how it shaped your attitudes towards what you feel will be equity in your future classroom. So now, how did it shape, not only how did it influence you as an individual student, and then also how did it impact what you will choose to do as a teacher? So this should be a pretty decent paragraph. So probably almost a page, good 5 to 8 sentences, because you need to both tell the story, talk about how it impacted you, and how it will impact what you do in your classroom. So if you're a parent, you could certainly do an incident that your own child had, if you want to talk about it from that perspective. If you want to talk about it from your own student perspective, that's fine. And if you absolutely never saw any bias in the school system in your life, which might just mean that you weren't aware of it, because we all have biases, and anyone who says they don't have biases is wrong. We all have biases. It's how our human brain works and thinks. And so think about how have these shown and how it impacted you. So it doesn't have to be a story where someone showed you bias, but where you viewed bias. So you might have viewed bias to, I give the example here of a teacher calling on girls over boys or boys over girls, or I'll get a lot of times where it's like coaches would meet with their team over meeting with others, or it always seemed like they got special privileges and things like that. And so think about that and think about how it influences how it influenced you as a student and how it will influence what you do as a teacher. And the criteria for grading are below. Okay. And then for your final project information gathering, remember, this is you collecting pieces to get this final project together. So when you get the directions for the final project, you're going to go, oh, I can go pull all this information from everything I collected. So in the last unit, you explored what you wanted to teach, and you gave me some information there. So now I want you to actually go out into 2 districts that you would consider teaching in right out of college. So any 2 districts. It can be local districts, it could be districts far away, it could be districts in another state. It doesn't matter. I want you to find their employment link. Every district has an employment link. And what you need to do is say, for example, Cleburne ISD, here's the employment link. Here's Hillsborough ISD, here's the employment link. Chose those 2 because that's where the college is located. Okay? But you certainly can choose anywhere that you want to choose. Now realize smaller districts, it may be harder to find actual job postings and job links, or if they even have one. So you do have to find districts that do post employment pages. Okay, sometimes you have to search for terms like jobs, employment, human capital, human resources to find that job link. Okay, so I want you to find 2 districts and give me the link for each place where you can find open jobs. So that's the key. If they say there's no jobs currently available, that's not a good district to use, okay? Because I will click them and I will expect to go straight to that page, to that job, to those job postings. Because we are going to use those job postings to kind of examine the field and what other knowledge do we need, okay? Okay. The final area is your field work. Okay. For this assignment, you are going to watch these two videos, both on classroom management at very different age groups, okay? Then you are going to compare and contrast. This is higher level thinking. Compare and contrast. How are they similar? Because yes, they are similar in how they are run. And how are they different? Yes, they are very different in ways that they do things. So I want you to discuss similarities and differences, answering those 8 questions below. Some are going to be very technology based, some are not. Be descriptive. Remember, this is counting for 2 hours of your field work. So you're going to watch those 2 videos incomplete, compare and contrast them, and answer those 8 by answering those 8 questions. You don't have to write a paper. It can say, number 1, here's my answer. Number 2, here's my answer. Each should be 3 to 5, 5 to 8 sentences long, depending on the question. Most, I would think, would be a minimum of 5 sentences. Remember, when I say descriptive paragraph, I mean 5 to 8 sentences. And you're talking about 2 different teachers, and so you need to be able to defend what you think. Let me know if you have any questions. All of this unit is due February 8th at 11 p.m. and have a great Unit 2.